Right. So that was much more fun. Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new edition of the Reds Disciples podcast. We are a companion podcast with the Facebook group, the Reds Disciples, which is an online basketball community found on Facebook. And if you are with us back again, thank you for joining us. Please hit that like and that subscribe button. We're going to be doing this all year. This is your show. And thankfully, today we have much better news today, Sunday, than we did on Friday. As today, the Celtics do finally pull out a 107-97 win, I believe is the number.
Yep.
107-97 win for their first win of the season and the first win of Ime Udoka's career. So that was a solid first win, I guess I might say. As a win, I think, against a Houston team, if we didn't win, the hand wringing would probably be immense by now. But we are the better team. We should have won that game. But it's nice to see us put that together and get that win. But first, before we dive in too far to this week's win, to today's win, we should look back at Friday's debacle. Which was not fun, most certainly not fun. A 111-83 pounding at the hands of the Toronto Raptors, who just outlengthed the shit out of us, to be perfectly honest. Billy, just to open up, and we're not going to dive too far into that because I might slit my wrist. But what was your thoughts on what we saw from our team against Toronto at the home opener?
Well, my thoughts on Friday and 48 hours later are a lot more balanced now because I had time to kind of reflect and think about it. We kind of
climb off the ledge a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of expected just because we changed the coach, all the bad habits would disappear. That's kind of not how things work. It takes time to implement a culture. It takes time to implement a system. I mean, you saw the spacing on Friday. Nobody knew where they were supposed to be, which meant everybody's in the wrong place. And that's how all those turnovers kept happening. I mean, we going into today, we were 30th in the NBA in turnovers.
Yeah.
And that's, nobody knows where to be. They don't know their spots. They're not comfortable playing with each other because that was also the first time all 17 of our guys were available, counting the two-way guys.
25 turnovers for that game. They had their hands on everything, like with all their length. And Siakam didn't even play.
No.
Yeah, and they outlengthed the shit out of us with Boucher, with Scotty Barnes. Again. Continuing from what we saw in the preseason, that kid is a star in the making, I think. His length was so, and Precious Achiuwa, his length just created just nightmare for this team.
Yeah, that's a most improved player candidate right there. Precious.
Oh yeah, they were talking about that on the broadcast, and it's 100% right. He's going to do some great things for that team this year, I think.
But when you turn the ball over, you're going to give up fast break points because obviously we gave up, we were 30th in fast break defense too going into today. And those two things go hand in hand. And Those are the habits that this team had before because they're very lackadaisical and they kind of think that they could just show up and beat these bad teams. And I think Ime's finally the guy that's going to get it through their head that they can't do that. They actually have to, play 48 minutes of a basketball game. You don't just get up double digits in the first half and you get to coast the rest of the way because they love doing that. We had a nice lead. Everything was running on all cylinders. The starters played good. And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, we got this. Let's let's put it in neutral a little bit.
Yeah, and just stop moving. It's like, hey, we can just hoist from wherever and be sloppy with our passes, like sloopy or super sloppy, no intention on the cutting, no, if at all there was cutting, just really not intentional with the off-ball movement at all. A lot of guys standing around. And if you stand around, you're easy to guard. So we saw a lot of that. The switching again was an issue. Looks like Ime did make an adjustment today, but on Saturday, excuse me, on Friday, switching was just on 20, switching, everything switching all the time. Like if you even breathe in my direction, I'm switching on to another guy, you know. So, and that just created, once again, matchup problems. I saw like their length under the rim, OG and Boucher and Barnes were under the rim, and they had like, Romeo and frickin' Pritchard underneath there. Like, what are these two guys doing under there trying to battle with them? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, they got the mismatches pretty easy, and it wasn't just in the post because I mean, obviously they did kill us down low, but they killed us from three. I mean, it was just a total massacre. Surprisingly, we still did really well with assists that game, even though we were
Yes,
winging the
we
ball.
did.
So
I
that's like a huge change from what we've seen previous years. We jumped from 27th last year in assists to 6th going into today. I'm sure we might even be in the top 5 after today's game. So that's encouraging.
Yeah. So today, 22 assists on 38 baskets. Honestly, could have been more. We still are not. I mean, in general, I do like our ball movement. I still would like to see us drive a little bit more. But in general, the ball movement is better. It's crisper. You do see guys willing to make the extra pass. We just haven't seen a lot of guys make shots. Um, it's nice to see Tatum get off the schneid today, almost the double-double with 31 and 9. Al shot the ball better in the last game than he did today, but Al made a ton of plays on both ends of the ball today. Double-double, 3 blocks, 3 steals, super active all over the floor. And it's just, I think it's a matter of just guys being able to hit shots. Our starting backcourt today has run into a lot of the same issues that our starting backcourt had last year, and to a degree, some of that is unexpected, some of it is the shooting, and therefore the spacing has just not worked, at least up to start the season. Smart has not been effective yet. Not that Smart was ever going to be like a super effective jump shooter, but Smart is still working his way into it. He did, I think, run, as far as game management, I thought he was okay today. Yeah, but Schroeder, and it was weird. It was very off and on game for me. He had 18 and 5 assists, which statistically looked great. I thought at times, he forced stuff. His jump shot has not come along yet. Ironically, Josh Richardson has. Once the season started for real, Josh Richardson's shot, I think, has come along so far. And Aaron Neesmith's shot has not hit regular season time yet. So we're still sluggish on spacing. And we're going to need that because guys are going to dare our backcourt to beat them. And right now they cannot. But we did enough to get the win today, I think.
Yeah, Schroeder's going to be the litmus test for who actually watched the game and then who just looked at the box score. Because if you look at the box score, you're like, oh, Schroeder absolutely played much better than Smart. But you don't understand the way he over dribbles and how much it hurts us. And then the turnovers at just the worst possible times. The thing
And then that
about
stupid play. Yeah, it's had a couple of just bonehead, like totally Schroeder plays, like the kind of plays that if he was on another team playing us and did that, we would just be he would just get the ratio. You just like we want to punch the shit out of him.
those are momentum swingers. When he does that, it swings the momentum for the other team. Smart, he's kept his shot attempts under double digits, which is great. I don't care if he makes them or misses them. I just want him to shoot them, keep the defense honest enough. But you give me six rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover, as opposed to what Schroeder's doing. I'm going to take that every single time. He's Joe Flacco. You could win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. He ain't going to wow you, but you know what? He'll get you to the dance. And that's what he's doing. He's getting us there.
Indeed, indeed. So, but yeah, as for tonight's game, again, 107-97, we win. So I know we've already mentioned a few names, but let's go ahead. So tell me about our top 3 guys here. I'll just mention, starting out with Tatum once again, 31-9. Looked more aggressive overall. I thought I saw him taking it to the basket a little bit. Still had his fadeaways going on, but I thought he was at least trying to touch the paint a little bit more. Hit a few threes. He looked like he started to resemble the Tatum that we all know and love.
He looked like a leader, man. He set the tone early. He started the game by just getting buckets. His defense was actually almost better than his offense tonight. I really liked his help defense. It doesn't show up in a box score because he only had 1 block, but I mean, he was altering shots. Did Porter do anything tonight? I mean, he was in in handcuffs. He might have been like your boy Off Night, what Off Night's doing to everybody.
Right. Yeah. No, in our that same length that Toronto put on us, we have that same ability to use length to swallow up guys. Like I really do think, it's going to take time to mesh all these new guys together so that they know each other more. Like we'll see this as this year goes along. But ideally, there's a lot of defensive talent on this roster. And we really do have the ability to kind of just swallow teams up, especially getting Al back, who I thought, like, a lot of his playmaking on the defensive end came even on the perimeter, just as a guy who's able to step out and guard guys from out there and be disruptive with high hands and active hands, even out on the perimeter. And I think that's something that a lot of people, when this move came to get Al back, really didn't take into account that he would be able to do, especially playing at the 4, that he just wouldn't be able to handle that. And obviously it's a long season. We'll see what happens, but his ability to be quick laterally and drop and move his hips and move side to side, and just also be an active high hands guy and get deflections. Like we have the ability to get a lot of deflections on this team.
Yeah, the way he played defense tonight, I think every coach should just take that film. And if you have a young big man you're trying to develop, just show him that. The switching, the timing. I mean, the way he's playing the passing lanes, the way he's altering shots, it's just textbook. And then we're not even talking about him on offense where, you know what, he was a threat. He was running fast breaks. I mean, there was nothing this guy wasn't.
Break, that great end-to-end play that he had. trying to think what was the defensive end of that, if that was a block or a
He
steal or
made some
what.
kind of, either one of his blocks or steals because he had a hand, he had a handful of both. And
Right. And then at the other end gets the nice shovel pass forward from Josh Richardson, sidesteps the defender, gets the and one. Like that's vintage stuff. That's like the kind of stuff that you look for from Al. So I know we were started out talking about the number one guy, Tatum, but the number two guy is most certainly Al. They said that they would ramp him up to 30 minutes, and he had 30 right on the nose today. And I feel like that's where Ime is inclined to try and leave him this year, is have him playing roughly about 30 minutes a game. And he's going to keep him at that 4 spot. That's not something that we're going to see altering a lot. Like he's really, he sees him as a starter. Al, obviously, of course, as you know, sees himself as a starter. So they're just going to keep trying to work with this group and get them to mesh together a little bit better.
well, with him playing 30 minutes, you kind of saw a little bit of an adjustment because we finally saw what the rotation is going to be for big guys. Yes, it's going to start with Al at the 4, but then they're going to stagger Rob and Al with
Yes.
Grant in at the 4 after that for like basically the rest of the game. So yeah, the first and third quarter, you're going to have Rob and Al together and probably in a closing lineup, but the rest of the game, you're going to stagger those two. So that way, you never have Grant just stuck alone all by his lonesome at the 5, and we don't ever have to play Canner, which is just a win-win-win all the way around.
Right. Right. So yeah, and speaking of mention, that's my third guy today as well. That last name, Grant,
Yep.
who said in the off season he was working with that shot doctor guy who does the Instagram videos where he shoots on like rotating upside down rims and rims that have nails on it. And he worked with him on his shot over the off season, and it's really paying off. Grant looks like a comfortable, confident shooter out there. Obviously, playing next to Al and seeing what Al does out there, I think is going to have a good long-term effect on him. You see the return of his slight athletic ability. He's getting up, he's finishing strong with the dunks a little bit more. He's cutting a little bit. I thought Schroeder missed him with a wide open cut some point in the third quarter that pissed me off because he was right there. But hopefully we'll see more of Grant cutting and guys finding him down low. I'd like to see, not a lot, but I'd like to see him, get a switch, punish the occasional mismatch down low. But really is being a good kick out shooter to start this year has been a really good, nice thing to see, especially in light of, some other guys not finding a shot yet, with Neesmith not finding his shot yet, with Schroeder's shot not really coming around yet, or Marcus really yet either.
Even Horford is like horrible from 3 so far this year.
Yeah, and you're right. Horford's shot has not. He had a nice game than the last one. I felt like he went 3 for 3, but this today's game, like, and he was, his same wide open shots. I just felt he seemed like he was front on all of them. Like it seemed like his shot was short on a vast majority of those. So I don't know if it's the legs or building up conditioning, all of that. But yeah, it was good to see Grant. It's good to see, like, again, Grant is a guy that a lot of us had kind of written off as maybe like, I don't know what Grant's going to do in the middle of shuttling off all the back end of our roster guys. I know there was some clamoring for, all right, we just got to get rid of Grant now. But Grant he's emerged as a player, and he's kept Wancho at bay which I'm a little surprised at. We have not seen any of Wancho, and maybe that's because his defense just really doesn't cut it yet. But I'm surprised we haven't seen much of Wancho yet.
Yeah, it's the defense, and if Grant's going to shoot threes like that, it's just more valuable to have
Yeah,
Grant. I mean,
yeah,
that's all it is. Shooting will keep you on the court in the NBA. Doesn't matter what position you play. If you could shoot, they're going to find a spot for you.
yeah, yeah. So, what other thing did I see? Pritchard did not play much today, but he played a little bit. He played, 1 second, I'm just pulling up the numbers from today.
It seems like his confidence is getting back, though. Like playing in the mask is obviously bothering him, but I thought
Yeah,
he was a lot more stable today than the previous games.
yeah, he was. He looked more like himself. 2 for 5. He's still shooting reasonably well. 16 minutes today, and again, we're still going to see that time fluctuate a bit. As far as Romeo, Neesmith, and him all are kind of sharing backup minutes. I still wonder if at some point later in this year, if these guys play well enough that maybe Schroeder becomes a tradable asset.
I think that because we cannot re-sign him, we will not have his bird rights. He's
Now,
gonna. Yeah, there's no there. It has to be on the table.
right. And so we've spoken to that at brief, but one thing about Pritchard, like I said, that we've mentioned before is I continue to be impressed by him overall not being afraid of the moment, and not being afraid to stick his neck in there, amongst the trees, regardless of, whether it's on the offensive boards, whether it's, bodying up guys on defense. He's going to get beat a bit. I think you have to expect that that's going to happen from time to time. The ultra quick guards are going to get him. But he's a competitor. He fights through it. And I think over time, that attitude, that trust that other guys will have in him is going to eventually win out.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like we just talked about with Grant, the shooting's going to keep him on the floor. You can space the floor 40 feet, you're going to be playing. It's so perfect for Tatum and Brown to have somebody like that. And with his ability to pass, that's the kind of elephant in the room we didn't talk about. We did this all without Jalen. We were kind of running pretty smoothly.
Yeah. Which in and of itself is a whole other thing. But yeah, it's nice that without one of our top two guys, we were still able to, one, play pretty good defense out there, save Jalen Green, but held them to under 43% shooting from the floor. We out rebounded them. They shot the ball hella well though, but obviously most of that Jalen Green. But beyond him, for the most part, we kept the rest of them kind of at bay, which was good. No Josh Christopher tonight though for Houston either. But yeah, it was nice to see that even without one of our best guys, we were still able to do enough good things to get the win. But if you missed that today or you missed the game, again, Jalen out with that right knee tendinopathy again. That's been lingering, really lingered all last year. May have even been a little bit the year before, honestly. It's a thing that's going to need to be managed this year. Once again, I think.
Not to go all conspiracy Bill on you, but I will do this from time to time. It was his birthday. We have a back-to-back We have a bigger game against Charlotte tomorrow. It's the Rockets. He's probably out in Houston. It seemed like he was having a good time. I don't know if you saw his Instagram video of him them dousing Ime. He's the one who
I did
posted.
see that video. I did see
So-
that video, which was great. Which was great to see. Obviously, guys celebrating Ime getting his first win, and his first response was took too long. You know, which is right, which is what all of us were thinking. You know, finally. But yeah, that was great. It was great to see him get the game ball for his first win. Hopefully, the first of many.
He beat Brad to it. Brad started 0-4.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. And last time we started out 0-2, I want to say it was 3 years ago, and then we ripped off like 16 in a row, something like that.
Yep, I went to one of the games during that streak. So yes, that was very memorable.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll do that. I will be going to the Washington game next Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see how that goes then. But yeah, hopefully this gets people to climb off the ledge a little bit. We got that first one, so we're clearly not going to go 0-82. But 1-81 is still a possibility. So we have to be wary of that. What did you see from Houston? Obviously the big story was Mr. Green, looking like a young, like a better shooting Westbrook or Zach LaVine or something. Like, I don't know what he is, but that kid is dynamic. His shot looks funky, but I mean, it works.
Yeah, I love the LaVine comp for him. I think that's kind of a perfect little comparison, even though I think they want him to be more of a point guard, but I just don't know if he has that kind of game. I don't think he's ever going to have the passing and the ball handling to create for others besides himself. I really like Sengun, even though he had a horrible game. So
yes, I do too. And for those of you who do not remember, Sengun was picked with the 16th pick, which was, of course, traded exactly by us traded by us with Kemba in order to get Al Horford back. So Sengun is the result of that draft pick. They later drafted Sengun and then traded him to Houston. So, which honestly, I'm not sure why they wouldn't keep Sengun. Like, that kid looks like a player. Why would Houston not want a guy like that on their team? I have no idea. But you know, there's some good clay there. With Christopher, who of course didn't play today, but he's a solid player. You know, Green,
Porter Jr.
Sengun. You still got Chris Wood. God, I love Chris Wood. Don't even get me started on how much I love Christian Wood. Like, and how much I need him in Green, how much I need him in my life. Like, it's approaching like sad levels, how much I want Christian Wood as a Celtic.
I can't remember the last UNLV player the Celtics had. Am I spacing on someone?
Last UNLV player we've had.
I feel like I should know this, but I'm embarrassed to say I don't think there's one.
There's only one I can think of.
Yeah,
he didn't last long, and I hoped he would, but he didn't. It was I forget his first name, but Giddens.
Oh, I was thinking of Marcus Banks.
Oh, that's right. He was one too, but I feel like Giddens was from UNLV too. I feel like he was. I can't remember what his name was. What his first name was. His first name escapes me right now. But
you know what though? J.R. Giddens was from New Mexico.
Giddens.
But he was from New Mexico. Was he a Tart kid? Because Tart was.
Right. I thought he was UNLV. That's right, J.R. Giddens. I thought he was, no, maybe he was New Mexico. I thought J.R. Giddens was UNLV.
Hey, that's still Mountain West, man. That's still what. Yeah.
So, no, you're right. It was New Mexico. Maybe it was Marcus Banks. Maybe Marcus Banks was the last one. If anyone's watching and can think of a more recent UNLV player we've had since Marcus Banks, let us know. By the way, I don't know why this escapes me. They were talking about it all game, how Green felt slighted about not being the number one guy. Remind me, who was the number one? Was it Mobley? No, Mobley was 3. Who was number one? Who?
Cade Cunningham for
Right,
Detroit.
of course. So, right, Cade.
We haven't seen play yet because he's.
Yeah, I've not. No, he's a good one too.
His size.
Yeah, he's choosing to make that a chip on his shoulder. It's funny. Mike was like, "Yeah, 2's not really that bad." He's like, "But hey, whatever gets you motivated. Whatever gets you motivated." So, but yeah, he was outstanding. If he's going to shoot like that, 8 of 10 from 3. I mean, obviously, we're not going to expect that every time, but I mean, 8 of 10 from 3.
One away from the rookie record. I think he's probably going to get it one of these games this year because he seems like hot.
Yeah, so he's another guy who's going to need to work on. Obviously, he'll need to grow into his size and get stronger so he can attack the basket more. But super live body, like Ja Morant level, just like super and like just jump out the gym. So he's fun to watch.
And I feel like Christian Wood just gets out of bed, whether it's a good game or a bad game. He just ends up with 20 and 9.
Yeah, exactly. That's why nothing affects him. It's just 20 and 9 all day. That's how he gets down, regardless of how good or as bad his day is. He's ends up with 20 and 9, 8 and 9 rebound. Like I want that kid, man. He would be so good, you guys. He would be so good here. There's almost no way to get him right now that I can think of unless he just becomes a free agent, decides to leave. But he is so good. He would fit so well here. But I don't know. It just may have to be one of my famous unrequited crushes from afar, who you never know what's going to happen, but likely will never end up here.
You and Danny Ainge. You both, Danny tried to get him 3 different times. And just never.
Yeah, one of those guys we keep trying to get and it never works. Before we get out of here, I guess. So next game is tomorrow?
Yep, back to back.
That will be Charlotte. That we will see. We'll see Charlotte. And what do we think of? We think of that game. Now, I don't know that this fits under the realm of revenge game, but obviously some former Celtics on that roster. They put a beating on us last year, like unmerciful beating on us last year. So we need to do something to get that back. And they will 100% run us out the fucking gym if we let them. And jump out the gym because Miles Bridges is a beast. LaMelo is just fantastic at pushing tempo. Terry always gets up for games against us. He always gets up.
He's still out because he didn't play today. So I'm hoping that he's still hurt. But honestly, Charlotte's kind of scarier without him. I like Oubre and LaMelo in the backcourt instead of Terry taking away shots from everybody. Sorry. It's, I've heard feelings from when he did that with us. And then I'm just terrified of Gordon Hayward. He's due to have a big game. It's his first
Yeah.
game. It's coming.
Yeah. So this one feels scary. This one feels like a scary game. So what are the keys to this game? My first one is we cannot bitch at all. We have to fucking get back. We have to get back. Now I noticed today there was one play where I think Tatum felt he got hacked on a shot and he started to cry, but I noticed Grant did not. He sprinted back, like, because I remember then the previous game, Ime had taken him out in the New York game. Well, Grant sprint back and then got in the play, made a play to get the turnover back, get the ball back. I was like, yeah, Grant remembers. Get his ass put back on the bench again. So he remembered. He sprinted back and got himself back in the play when it was an odd man rush, odd man break. So that was good. But yeah, against that team, they are so explosive and they score in bunches. That is a quintessential fast break team that once they get hot, it's hard to turn them off.
Yeah, we can't turn the ball over against them because of how good they are on the fast break. They don't have the inside game to kill us. So the only way they're going to kill us is with threes and fast breaks. The other guy that just absolutely terrifies me is known Celtic killer Ish Smith is their backup point guard. And he just destroyed the Nets today. So they ran the Nets off the court. They're going to be looking to run. I'm hoping because we're catching them on a back-to-back that we can kind of take advantage there, even though we're playing on 1-2. I think we had a little bit of an easier game than they did, though the Nets have a lot of problems right now. But
we have to touch the paint. We have to. Tomorrow could be a good game to have Al and have guys hopefully post up a little bit more, slow them down. Grind them just kind of grind them in the dust a little bit. Just post them up and attack from that spot. And then hopefully some guys that haven't been making their shots will make shots. And that we're able to get some of the spacing. Once again, his shot is not showing up, but we're going to need, it doesn't matter, I don't give a shit where it comes from, but we're going to need some guys to hit some outside shots.
And it's not like they're great defenders. There's no great defenders on that team.
No, we can totally score on them, and we can pick them apart. But we gotta be diligent. We can't do one-on-one, over dribbling fiasco again.
Now, Schroeder cannot over dribble on these guys because Oubre and Melo are both actually pretty decent at getting steals. So he's gonna rip his pockets because Schroeder, I don't understand the dribbling. Was this always a thing and I just never noticed it, or is it just something where we sign up?
Trying to think how he played a lot during his year in OKC.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he was playing obviously next to Paul, and Paul is such a Paul's kind of an authoritarian regime on whatever team he plays for. It's his way or the highway for wherever he plays. And so I don't know, maybe he reined that in, or somehow they found a way on that team for 3 point guards to coexist and play reasonably well, including Schroeder.
Yep, very well.
Yeah. So Schroeder doesn't, obviously he's not going to shoot this bad. I'm not expecting him to shoot this bad in the entire season. Law of averages will eventually kick in and he'll hit some shots. But it's mostly about, how you play.
I just don't want him shooting that many shots. I don't care if he's shooting well or not. I just don't. I understand tonight because Jalen's not there. but I don't like him consistently in this 14, 15 shot attempt range. It's what everybody complains about Marcus Smart for, and Marcus isn't doing it anymore. You get 8, 9 shots, maybe 10. That's it. Move the ball around, man. That's one thing you're here to do.
Yeah. No, agreed. So we shall see how that goes. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, once again, just to wrap up for today, Ime gets his first win. So handshakes and grab asses all around. Everybody's happy. Any final thoughts for you on tonight's game or tomorrow's upcoming tilt with the Hornets?
You know, a lot of opinions, everybody that was panicking, we pull out this back-to-back. The Hornets are 3-0. Everybody loves the Hornets right now. People will start jumping back on the Boston bandwagon. We'll start building that momentum again. So
Absolutely. Here. Yeah, just a matter of, winning sues all. We're still going to be working our way into this. There's a lot of guys here who still haven't had a lot of time to play together. I mean, just a reminder, we only played 4 preseason games. I mean, I'm sure we've had a lot of practice, but we've still only played 4 preseason games, and that was by design. We wanted to do most of our work behind the scenes in practice, and we also didn't want guys to get injured in situations that they couldn't control. But the flip side of that coin is there's still not a lot of guys who still have ingrained reps knowing what to do when they're facing live competition against another team that's not also training with you. These guys still don't have a ton of live reps playing with each other. So we can't forget that these guys are still working a lot of that out. And Ime, of course, is of all. One thing we kind of hinted at over the early on, but we didn't go too far in depth, is that Ime seemed to calm down and adjust on the switching so much. I saw a lot more of guys fighting over picks and Rob letting guys slide through and guys chasing over top of the screen, which to me is exactly what you need to do. Chase over top of the screen, push them off the 3-point line and into your length. That's, chase them off that line. That's another thing that I hope to see us doing, because Hornets will bury us on switches if we try to do that too much from the perimeter. So we need to chase guys off that line and funnel them right into all the length we have in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, and I think he probably preached that a game or two ago. I just don't know if it's been implemented yet, because it's hard to break habits. If you're so used to doing something, there's a lack of communication. Even adding more preseason games, I don't know how much it would have helped, because it's not like we had a full roster. Like
Right.
Literally Friday was the first time all 17 of those guys were available, depending on if we wanted to use some of them or not.
All right,
So,
and it only lasted one game, because the next
Yep.
game we lost 2 guys again. Romeo, of course, who, God, that kid is snake bit. Hopefully he's not out long.
It seemed like he ramped up in pregame or whatever it was, the warm-ups or whatever. It was some kind of calf thing that tightened up.
Yeah.
Super
So
serious.
hopefully that's not a long-term thing. Calf tightening, hopefully that's just a day thing, and hopefully he'll be okay to go tomorrow. He's had a great start to the year. It'd be a shame for something to get in the way of that. So yeah, just you hope. We had every guy healthy for one game. Now was our worst game, and then we come back, and this game, after lost 2 of us, it's like, oh, we're back to ourselves, down 2 guys. That's our normal. It's missing guys.
That's where we feel comfortable, apparently.
Right? That's where we live. It's our peace. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll get those guys back. And as this, we're going to have to give this new coach sometime. And it's going to be hard. If you're, it's going to be hard for us Celtics fans to kind of watch and be like, no, what are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. But we are, and obviously this team has expectations for where they can go based on the moves we've made, based on the talent and the veteran experience upgrades we've made. But it is going to take Ime some time to kind of sort through this. And it's going to take guys some time to just get used to playing with each other, knowing where guys, feel comfortable with the ball, recognizing, oh, I know this guy's going to cut here. I can give him the ball or what have you. It's just going to take some time, whether we like it or not. And I know we don't, but it's going to take guys some time to figure things out and, find a rhythm, find a pattern.
Yeah, it takes time to break bad habits. Like, what does Malcolm Gladwell say? It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. These guys need the time to play together and change their habits, because just because a new guy's calling the plays doesn't mean their mentality, their habits, what they do in a game is going to be different. They have to learn, they have to adjust. And I think this is the right guy for it, because you see how much they love this guy. I've never seen
they clearly they are ready to fight for him. So, I mean, and that's something. That's not nothing. No, that's not nothing at all. All right. Well, I feel like that's a good place to stop as any. But once again, thank you for listening. We're going to put this episode up on YouTube soon. It's going to be available as well on Spotify and iTunes and wherever you get your podcast from. So like, subscribe, give us a follow, give us a note, absolutely give us a comment. I don't care. Just, tell us to F off if you want, but just, I don't know, just say something. We know we're not alone out here. We know there are people watching. We know there are people that are starved for content, and we know there are people that are interested in what fans think of this team, not just the writers, but what are fans out there saying about this team. So I see you, we see you. So yeah, step on up. All right.
We notice you watching. And like I said,
Absolutely. We love and appreciate y'all. It's a shout out to all the people on Reds Disciples on Facebook, our folks on Twitter, our folks on Real GM, wherever you are, Tommy Point, anywhere. If you're watching, you're one of the family. All right. All right. So with that, I'm Aaron. He's Billy. And we'll catch you next time.
Go Seas.